What makes me think you'll listen to this whole episode? This gun in my hand. Brought to you by the National Rifle Manufacturers Association.
Bang! Bang! Bang!
Billy here knows that laws restricting guns in any way would lead to higher murder rates and eventually tyrannical government takeover. Of course, we can't do a controlled experiment to see what would happen. That would be too risky. We can only speculate.
But Pop, we don't need to create an experiment. Couldn't we just look at history? We could compare the effects of different gun laws in other countries.
No, Billy, that wouldn't be a worthwhile comparison. America is too different from those places. Exceptional.
Not even comparing varying state laws within the U.S. over several decades? Or with a meta-analysis of several different studies taken?
Nope.
Oh, okay. We have, like, FBI data, though, right?
No way of knowing or comparing.
Bang, bang!
It's a sunny autumn morning in Parabellum City, the city that never misses. Falk Zildjian, incomparable hero by virtue of the fact that he carries a gun, strides purposefully toward the county building. It's the kind of day when even jaded city slickers are willing to chat with strangers passing on the sidewalk.
Good morning. How's everything with you today?
Morning. Not bad. How about you?
Good. I was afraid I wouldn't see you today, Mr. Zildjian. But now I can give you this.
I don't know who you are, but today's not your day.
Stop. What are you doing?
I thought we were wrestling.
Why would you think that?
Your voice, the grunting.
Yeah, I got a condition. I've caught a lot of harassment for it over the years. But people don't usually hate me enough to try wrestling me to the ground.
I'm really sorry, bud. I thought you were, now I can give you this, like a haymaker or a shiv.
Here, have a nice day.
A subpoena?
Your Honor, the defense calls Falk Zildjian.
Proceed.
Mr. Zildjian, could you tell us the events that led up to Gil Bernard and Lloyd Rosen being taken into custody on the afternoon of April 17th of this year?
Sure. It all started when a shoeshine man gave me a tip about those two and their skee-ball racket.
That's something like a tennis or badminton racket?
No, I meant racket in the sense of organized criminals making money illegally on a regular or repeated basis.
I see. Go on.
I found them in the boiler room of an empty school. They were talking about... And then I believe it was Rosen who said his cousin was black. We didn't have anything to say after that, so I tied them up and tipped off the police to their whereabouts.
There's one detail I don't understand. You wrestled with them a few times and they seemed to interrogate you. Then later you say you pulled a gun on them. Why didn't you pull it as soon as you found them?
That wouldn't have worked. They could have scrambled out the side door. After wrestling them and jawing a while, I was able to position myself between the two men and the exits.
You didn't mention that in your earlier testimony.
I didn't think it was a crucial detail. I can't remember where we were positioned every moment during the encounter.
I'm afraid this undermines all your testimony so far. You told us you found them in the boiler room of the empty school. They were talking about... And then, according to your testimony, Rosen said his cousin was black. You tied them up and tipped off the police.
Right.
But then you added this part about changing positions with them in the room and drawing a Kilroy was here on the table before you left.
How did you know that? I never said that.
Yes, you did.
I specifically told you about finding them in the boiler room, where they were talking about... Then Rosen said his cousin was black. I tied them up and tipped off the cops. After hours on the witness stand, Zildjian was relieved when Judge Thornton called a recess until the following morning. Our hero found his confidant, the shoeshine man, outside the courthouse and unburdened himself of his troubles. First, I tell them all about it from the witness stand, how I found those two mugs in the boiler room of the empty school, how they were talking about...
You're not going to tell the whole story right now, are you?
Well, yeah, you won't get a sense of what it was like unless I tell you the whole thing.
Here, let me put the radio on. The volume knob's tricky. Okay, keep telling your story.
Like I was saying, the two guys were talking about... Hey, can you turn it down? How can you even hear me?
I hear you fine. God, this is going to take forever.
Thank you. Like I was saying. We pause for this message. This gun in my hand is brought to you by the National Rifle Manufacturers Association. Your piggy bank is getting heavy, Billy. What are you planning to buy with it?
I'm saving for reverse war bonds.
Reverse war bonds? What are those?
Remember when we were listening to Lum and Abner and they invested in war bonds? That's the old way to finance a war. You tell citizens that buying war bonds is their patriotic duty, then you gotta pay them back after 10 years or 30 or 40 years. It's hard to stay patriotic about these forever wars. But these days you launch a war and don't worry about how much it costs. You can give a big tax break to rich people and just run up the national debt to pay for it all.
We are supposed to be worried about the national debt, aren't we?
Sure, when the other party's in office.
I still don't understand. What are these reverse war bonds you're saving for?
It's just an expression, Dad. They're running up the national debt for endless war and for the operational costs of 800 military bases around the world. Future generations like mine will have to pay for it. We'll probably have to jack up taxes or cut back on services. The reverse war bond is the amount I'll need to save to make up for all that.
I'm so relieved, Billy.
Just being responsible and planning for my future, like you taught me.
I'm relieved you'll have to pay for it, not me.
Your grandchildren and great-grandchildren will be paying too.
That's fine. I thought you were building up to an appeal for me or anyone else within the sound of your voice to buy war bonds.
Nope.
Was there some other conclusion you were building towards?
America is great.
It sure is. We now return to the program.
So I said to the guy, that's not petroleum jelly, that's rubber cement.
I don't get it.
Never mind, I guess he had to be there. The whole story, episode 2 of This Gun in My Hand, was written, performed, and edited by Rob Northrup. Review this episode on Scrapple Podcasts or Sketchers or wherever you found it. Go to thisguninmyhand.blogspot.com for episode notes and credits, and to buy my books. Who's going to make you do any of that? This gun in my hand. And the line about petroleum jelly, not rubber cement, was something Julian V used to say 30 years ago.